Please spread the word.
Hello there, welcome back to Strength for Tomorrow Radio with me, Stuart Thompson. So glad you could join me on this beautiful Friday afternoon. In fact, you could be listening any day. I've said this before. I have no idea or control over when you listen to this. It's out on Friday though, if that's any consolation. So we're into April. It's the 8th of April as you're listening to this from when it was released. And so I think it's fair to say it's spring. Spring showers, a bit crazy. The weather, not too bad though. Warm one minute, cold the next. It's really hard to dress, isn't it? It's hard to know what to put on when you're going outside. What a dilemma. Happens every year though, so can't say we're surprised. So what's happening in the world? Still a bit crazy, isn't it? Still a bit crazy out there. But one thing you can control is your training. Hopefully you enjoyed last week's episode on motivation versus discipline. And hopefully you got something out of that. And hopefully you're both motivated and disciplined after it. This week we're gonna start into a little mini series called I Don't Have Time. It's a bit of a dig because we all have time. We've all got 24 hours. Everybody's got time. But what do we do with it? That's the thing that matters, right? So the first one is gonna be I don't have time, how to train on a busy schedule. So this is something which I was looking back and thinking, whenever I was in my early 20s, whenever I was at uni, whenever I was a lot younger, like 10 years ago, and I was was working, single, young, free, single, all that. I used to think, oh, I'm so busy, I have to do this, I'm doing this weekend, I'm doing this tonight, I've got work today, don't have time to do this, don't have time to do that, don't have time for this appointment, don't have time to get there, to get this done. I used to think it was busy until I got married, until I had a kid, until I had a business, and it's kind of funny looking back now, realizing how much time I actually did have to invest in different things. So maybe you are a really busy parent, maybe you have a really busy job, maybe you're working like 80, 90 hours a week, something crazy. Maybe you have 3 or 4 or 5 kids running about at all different stages, they run here, there and everywhere. Maybe you have a baby and they rely every moment of their day upon you for their survival, for their thriving. This is a podcast episode for you. We're going to discuss ways in which you can arrange your training, even if you have a really busy schedule. Maybe you're a doctor or a nurse and you work 12-hour shifts. Maybe you're a teacher. Teachers are always talking about how busy they are. I've got so many friends that are teachers and they're all, oh, I'm so busy, I've got this and this and this. Give us a break. You've got like 4 months in the summer. You've got like 2 weeks every few months. I'm just kidding. I just like ripping on teachers because I've got a few friends who are teachers. And yeah, send your complaints in. I'll deal with them. I'll take them. But stick around. Unless you're a teacher and you've switched off already, stick around and listen to this episode. Hopefully you get something out of it and it helps you rethink how you're going to train around your busy schedule. So we're going to try and keep this episode pretty short because if you're listening to this and it's a topic that is of interest to you, you're pretty busy. So whenever it comes to utilising training and trying to eat well for your goal of enhancing your quality of life, trying to live a bit longer, add an extra 5 or 10 or plus years to your lifespan, I don't have time is probably the most common reason people will give themselves. It's the most common excuse people give themselves to not go for it, to not eat better, to not train often or well. And more often than not, even if you suggest that the benefits of having an optimized training and nutrition plan will outweigh all of the time you invest in it, a lot of people will still continue to tell you, oh, I'm so busy, I don't have time, I've got this and this and this. They'll just keep explaining how busy they are. But if you're already kind of past this stage, you've kind of accepted, look, I'm busy, but I still have the same 24 hours as other people. I can still do something. It might not be training to the same extent as I did when I was 20, but now that I'm 34, what can I do? What else can I do? How can I arrange my day and my week to help me fit training into it? And sometimes you listen to some people and they'll tell you, if you want to, you want to be healthy, you want to get in shape, you have to do, 6 hours a week of training. Train every day, lift heavy weights every day, go for a run every day, for an hour. So you have to invest 6 hours a week. That's not what I'm saying, and that is the first piece of advice I'm going to give you. We're going to have lots of pieces of advice, but that is one that we need to rubbish straight away. Do not think that you have to invest 6 hours of training time every week. So if you're over it and you're ready for the next step towards your better health, longevity, keep listening to this episode. In this episode, we are going to give you some actionable tips and steps on how you can integrate a healthy lifestyle into your really busy schedule. First of all, it might be worth asking, why should you do this? Just why? What is your why? That's what we coaches always say. What is your why? Quite frankly, your success in every aspect of life, whether it's relationship, whether it's family, whether it is employment, whether it's in your recreation, hobby, whatever, it's based upon your physical and mental well-being. If you break down in one of those two or both areas, suddenly a lot of things come to a grinding halt, or a lot of things will start to suffer. You might get by for a while, but things will start to suffer. And in the modern day lifestyle, in the 21st century still, isn't it? It feels like this one's been going on for quite a while. Still the 21st century. You basically get robbed of your quality movement, and you get access to lots and lots and lots of junk food, if you can call it food, which in turn impacts your quality of life. So sitting at a desk for 6, 7, 8 hours per day, not moving, your joints are just sat there at a 90-degree angle for that amount of time. Then you just sit in your car or the bus or your train or whatever, however you get to and from work, and you're again sitting there static, not doing anything. And in previous generations, I guess we would have walked to work, we would have cycled to work, we would have stayed at home and worked the land. We would have done all sorts of things, but our bodies basically were adapted to dealing with work. We were working as part of our life. They didn't have many gyms. In fact, they didn't have any gyms, and they didn't have to lift weights, and they didn't have to do any cardiovascular work because they did it as part of their lifestyle. We do not have that anymore. At least very few of us do. We don't have that kind of primary sector of the economy. For the vast majority, we have a service-based sector. In the UK and Ireland anyway, we sit at desks. For most of us, that's the reality. We sit at desks. And even those of us who do not sit at desks, if you're a builder or if you're just on your feet, whatever it is, you're still going to be susceptible to the other issue, which is junk food, vending machines, cafeterias, garage shops where you just pick up junk and eat it really, really easily. It's just there, isn't it? We all do it. So, in a sense, being fit and even adding muscle is something completely natural. Nowadays, though, the industrial cities will impose on us unnatural living patterns, which makes fitness and well-being someday goals for most people. What I mean by that is, it's not going to be today. It's not going to be tomorrow. But someday, I'll get fitter and I'll get healthier and I'll do something for my well-being. But whenever you break it down, whenever you look at the basic elements of it, your body is essentially a community of cells that you technically govern, and you nurture with the things that you put into it and the ways that you use it, how you put it to work, how you put it to work or do not put it to work. So you have no valid excuse, and I have no valid excuse to not keep my community healthy, that community of cells. Now, next of all, we're going to talk about training and the possible ways to integrate it into your busy schedule. Even if you work 12-hour shifts. My wife used to work crazy shifts, all sorts of hours of the day as a nurse, and she was still able to do some training. And I've trained people mainly online, because this is one of the beauties of online training, is you don't have to have a set schedule, and neither do your clients. You don't have to suit each other. They can work according to their own schedule. They can suit themselves, and they can do 15-minute workouts, 12-minute workouts, 10-minute workouts, whatever it is they can manage. They can do them, and they can do them in their own time. Another really great reason for making time to train and to exercise whenever you have a really busy schedule. It comes from a motivational quote, I guess, but it's one that's been banging around for years. But it basically goes like this: if you don't make time for exercise, you will have to make time for illness. And it's quite hard hitting, a little bit harsh, some might say. I think it's very true though, considering the links between chronic illness and inactivity due to obesity, all of those things, cancers, diabetes, heart disease. There's so many illnesses that come from inactivity, from not exercising. And as I said, in previous generations, we didn't have to go to a gym because it didn't exist, but we didn't have to because of all those lifestyle factors that we've already talked about. And given all of those links between inactivity, poor nutrition, and chronic disease, it makes sense to focus on your health. Your health is your wealth, as they say, and we might even do a program on that and go into that in a little bit more detail. But we've done previous shows on showing you the links between lack of exercise, lack of training, and illness, and they're pretty strong, and they're only getting stronger with every study. So that is a few reasons as to why you should want to train, to make time to train, even if you're really, really busy. So how can you train efficiently? How can you waste as little time as possible getting your work done? Basically getting as many results or as big a results as possible from as little effort as possible. That's what we're all interested in, right? I mean, there's very few of us actually enjoy exercising, but what is the most effective and efficient way to exercise to ensure that you are getting the most return on your investment of time? So for most people, it can feel like a long time. It can feel like a huge ordeal to, get to the gym, to warm up, to do your workout, to get back home, to shower, to eat. The whole process could be a 2 hour plus escapade. It's probably more if you're a lady and you're particularly into your looks and you want to, do I put my makeup on, do I not put makeup on, do I wash my hair, do I not wash my hair? All those sort of questions us guys never, ever, ever have to think about, thankfully. Maybe some guys do, I don't know, let's not judge, but the truth is all this, it can be really time consuming and it can be stressful even to think about, and for many people it puts them off even just doing the workout in the first place. So your best bet is to try and optimize the whole process, to try and figure out, right, how many times a week do I need to work out? What can I stick to? When do I have a bigger period of time where I can train? And whenever you're trying to plan your training program, it really does depend on your goal. It depends what your goal is, depends what you feel like you're lacking or what you need. If you want to get stronger, you're going to be doing weights. That program's going to look a little bit different to if you've got a bit of extra body fat around the waist and you're trying to lose a few inches from your waist circumference. That's going to look different. As I said before, I have trained clients online before really successfully by giving them 10 to 15 minute workouts 3 or 4 or 5 times a week instead of 3 1 hour sessions a week. I'd give them little tiny workouts to do. So here are a few tips that you can start to use straight away. If that's your goal, the goal is to lose 2 or more inches from their waist, and 90% of them did that. The other ones who didn't do that, didn't do the workouts, didn't track the nutrition, didn't follow the program. Basically, they might as well have not bothered. But maybe they'll get there someday. Hopefully they will. But if you can get a gym that's within 10 or 15 minutes of your home or workplace, or a place where you are going to be driving past pretty regularly, then that's going to benefit you. If you have some basic home equipment as well, instead of using all of the stuff at the gym, trying to get all of that done, have a few bits and pieces lying about at home. So if you feel like you need to do cardio, maybe focus on doing the weights in the gym, and then in between maybe do your aerobic stuff at home. Maybe get a rower, maybe get skipping rope, maybe get, I don't know, kettlebell and do some swings, do something aerobic at home, if that's what your plan is, just to cut down your time, the amount of times you have to go to the gym. The other option could be the other way around. Maybe you've got a bit of space and you've got a room for a rack and a barbell and a bench. You do your weights at home, and then you could maybe do your cardio stuff in the gym. Make it work for you, basically, whatever your setup or scenario is, but you can make it work for you. This is kind of one of the reasons that I've set up the open gym here in Cross-Functional Fitness, is because I realised there's a consistency of clients being able to train regularly that's going to get them the best results. So I'm keen to allow the current clients to be able to train more, and then for other people whose schedule does not fit with the schedule of the gym and the one-to-one training and the semi-private training and the classes, if that doesn't sync with them, then they can come in and still train and use the facilities here to get in shape and to get stronger and to get fitter, coupled with even the online training that we offer as well. But basically that consistency is going to be key to getting any result that you're after. So like I said, you could train maybe 20 or 30 minutes every day or every few days rather than 3 hours all at once every 2, 3, 4 times per week. So you don't think that like it's a big commitment. Even train 10 to 15 minutes. Now some people say, oh, you can't get anything, that's not going to be an effective workout. You can't get anything done in 10 or 15 minutes. I promise you, I've trained people, was it 8 or 9 out of the 10 were able to lose 2 inches from their waist in 60 days just by doing short bursts of workouts, which was incredible. It was incredible to watch because it was a bit of an experiment on my part. I knew the theory behind it. I knew what it said in the papers and what it should do. So it was fascinating to see that actually play out for real people in real life in real time. So it is possible. Don't think it has to be like an hour episode every time you go to the gym. Now, personally, I like to do just 3 times a week and keep it to an hour, so I'm not wasting too much time. But I try to find times where I have a bit of space around it so I don't have to get too stressed if it runs over or I'm going to spend a little bit more time. But if that was the case and I just literally didn't have any time, I would try and do short bursts of workout. It's easier to maintain, I guess, as well. I think it's important to say. If you are at a decent physical condition right now, it's going to be easier for you to maintain that by doing short bursts of workouts rather than investing several hours in your work. Next one is do short, intense workouts to save time and still reap the benefits. So that was the key to the workouts that we did. They were short, they were intense, they were bursts of energy. It stimulated the metabolism. So the theory goes like this, and the studies have shown that you can burn extra calories at rest for up to 36 hours after your workout if you do HIIT training, so high intensity interval training. What that looks like will vary. Might be 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, might be a minute on, might be a minute off, might be 30 on, 30 off, 30 seconds I should say. So that will look different according to whatever workout or program you're following or whatever you think up yourself. So in essence, if you're a really, really busy individual, if you're a mum, if you're a business person, if you are just a really busy person, there are always ways to get around your schedule and to fit a few hours of training in per week. It doesn't have to always be a big hour ordeal. After this, this is the greater good for you basically, and it pays off big time. If you think of the big picture, I hate that phrase, the greater good. I hate it from history. It's just a terrible phrase. If you look deeper into what that implicates, but it really does pay off in the big time in the big picture. If you look at the macro, you look at the big picture. It's a massive payoff. It doesn't seem like much, just about break a sweat maybe in 15 or 20 minutes. But if you think of what that's doing for your metabolism, for your calorie burn every day, for how much energy you're able to expend, for your joints, getting them mobilized, getting them moving, it's massive. It's massive over the weeks and over the months. And one question though that really still stands though is, what is the best time to work out? Some people get their heads so caught up in what is the best time. Is it the evening? Is it the morning? Is it middle of the day? And they stress out so much about that they don't do anything at all. They don't even start an exercise. They don't start the workout. Some people have a schedule that will allow them to train during different parts of the day. So we can look at them, but I'm gonna just basically start off by saying, if you can whenever you can work out. Many people find if they're really busy, training in the morning is the best thing because they make it a priority. You do whatever you need to get done first thing, right? You make that your priority. Or if you're a procrastinator, sometimes like me, you'll put it off to the last minute. Train in the morning, make it a priority. It can be great. Now, depends what type of exercise. If it's weights, I hate working out with weights in the morning. Cardio, something I don't have to think about. Go for a run, easy. You can do that in the morning. That's simple. But it really depends on your personal preference. The main thing is you get it done, right? If you find that you're scheduling it for the evening and you never quite get around it, or you're too tired, maybe you are better working out in the morning. Maybe you're better scheduling it first thing in the morning. So it really does come down to you, your personality, and what you can make stick, what you can actually get done and execute upon instead of just talking about or planning it. So what about training in the morning? What are some of the benefits of that? Upon waking up, your body is, in a sense, it's fasted. It is fasted. meaning that your glycogen stores are a little bit lower than usual, and this means that your strength performance would be suboptimal. It wouldn't be at its highest. But nevertheless, whenever you're training in the morning, it is a really great way to kickstart your day. It'll give you lots of energy and it'll improve your mood, it'll help your decision making, it'll just make it a little bit sharper, especially after your breakfast. After you get your breakfast, after you do your training. If you can only spend maybe 30-40 minutes for a workout whenever you wake up before breakfast, there's nothing wrong with that either. Just bear in mind that your performance will not be as good as if you had something in you and then you train maybe an hour later. Cardio, on the other hand, is a great option then. Again, hard hitting, like kind of hit training, so high intensity interval training, probably not optimal. Which is probably what you're going to be doing if you're pushed for time. Now, if you like just going for a long run in the morning, nice slow steady run, that's a great time. I think first thing in the morning is great. It doesn't take a lot of energy. You're not using fuel which is going to be depleted. You're going to be able to fly through that, and again, you don't have to think or concentrate. Sometimes concentrating the first thing in the morning can be really difficult. So just be aware that if you are doing weight training, it's going to be harder. The weights are just going to feel a bit heavier if you've no food in you. So what about training in the afternoon? Personally, I love training in the afternoon or the evening time. That would be my preference, but everybody's different, right? Now, as you wake up and you go through your day, more and more sunlight passes through your eyes. So the sun starts quite low and then it comes up, and then sort of around midday, mid-afternoon, that's going to be whenever you're going to be getting the most sunlight. Hopefully you're going to get a bit of sunlight. You're going to get outside for a walk or a bit of fresh air. But the sunlight basically signals in your pineal gland to secrete serotonin, which is a hormone. It's basically like a daytime neurotransmitter. So in other words, serotonin makes you feel more awake. It makes you feel more alert. It gives you more energy. It boosts your mood and helps you with your daily activities to execute those with all of those extra benefits. So you see, whenever your organism is supposed to be fine-tuned to the sun, and the Earth's cycle as it goes around, there are periods whenever your cardiovascular efficiency, your muscle strength, your nervous system are most active and most are optimal for doing work. So this, for most people in most countries, most of the time, this is in the afternoon, somewhere between sort of 3 o'clock and 5 p.m. Now, this will change throughout the year. If you try and train in daylight in Northern Ireland, at 5 o'clock in December, it's going to be very dark, right? It's going to be pretty dark. So most of the year, I guess if you're living somewhere more hospitable, that is the case. But this time frame will change. But basically in the afternoon, somewhere in the afternoon. So if your schedule allows you to train in the afternoon, if you can arrange your schedule, maybe you're up early and you're home early, this would be a pretty good choice if you're trying to think about tuning your training and syncing it to your body. So not only will you sync with the highest biological activity time window of your body, but you'll also have some food in your system and therefore more energy, because your body's going to have processed that, put it through the system, and it's going to be helping your muscles to fire, as opposed to training first thing in the morning whenever you've been in a fasted state. What about training in the evening? This is my personal preference. I love training in the evening because I'm full of food. I've got a belly full of food from at least three meals, and it's just a good time to unwind and to kind of get stuck into some weight training. But it does have its disadvantages and its advantages alongside your preferences, and this is something to think about. I've had some clients who are always used to train in the morning and then they switch to the evening and they liked it better. So what does that mean for you? So say your workouts are after an entire day of work. It can be a big stress reliever, right? You can just blow out, you can just burn off and just de-stress from thinking about all the rubbish that's going on in work, all the stupid emails you get, all the stupid phone calls, staff members doing your head in, all of those things. You can just blow it off and put your energy into lifting some weights and just get a bit of a release, right? Especially if there's a punch bag in the gym you go to. On top of that, night time it's a recovery time for your body. So after an intense workout, you're kind of priming all your recovery mechanisms in your body, and it becomes easier to fall asleep. I've had guys who've trained with me in the evening, and every time they've trained, they said, I can't believe how much better I'm sleeping those nights. So depends how late, obviously. If you're staying up past midnight, it's probably going to go the other way. But if you do your workout too soon, too close to bed, it's going to disrupt your sleep cycle. There's been times I've been training at 11, 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and it's been definitely harder to sleep. You're just more switched on, and you kind of go past that point. So that's why I'd recommend training no less than 3-4 hours before your bedtime, ideally. Again, everybody's different. You might be listening to this and thinking, you don't know what you're talking about, Stuart. I can train right before bedtime and go to sleep. Good for you. I'm delighted for you. If you can do that, that's great. Most people can't. But yeah, figure out what works for you. Figure out which of those 3 options is going to be best for you, and get after it. Just the main thing is, like I said at the start of it, is just do it. Okay, just get after it, get it done, and don't worry too much about what time it's at. So what sort of form should your training take if you're trying to train efficiently? Some people think that you, as I said, have to train for an hour at a time. That is not true. You can, as I said, train 10 or 15 minutes per day. So maybe you like to go for a 5k run. What you could do instead, maybe you don't have time for a 5k run all in one go. What you could do instead is maybe do 1 mile run. Okay? Do something a little bit shorter. So instead of 3 mile run, do a 1 mile run. Do something that you can fit into 10 minutes and do that every day. Do it, maybe not every day, maybe 5 days a week instead of 7 days a week or 3 days a week. Try and do whatever you can do. Something is better than nothing is what I'm trying to say. It's not like medicine where you have to get like the optimal dosage, otherwise you might as well not bother. It's a bit like food. If you're starving to death, some food is going to be better than no food, right? You with me? Yeah. Same thing with exercise. Some is going to be better than none. Some is going to keep you going. It's going to get you closer to your goals than none. And it might take a little bit longer doing it this way, but it's going to be a lot better and a lot faster than not doing anything. So maybe you're doing weights. Maybe you don't have time for a big session to get a whole full body weight training session in. Maybe you could do just pick one exercise. So bench press. Do your bench press on a Monday. Do a squat on a Tuesday. Do overhead press on a Wednesday. I'm making this up off the top of my head, but there are ways and means of doing it. And it might take a little bit longer, as I said, but you will get there. Maybe on a Thursday you could do some deadlifts. Maybe on a Friday back to squatting again. Pick one exercise, take 15-20 minutes or whatever you have and do it. And if you do it heavy enough, you do it regular enough, you're going to get stronger. Again, as long as you're eating enough, sleeping well, all that stuff. So there are ways and means to organise your training schedule to suit yourself. If you can find a spare 10 or 15 minutes to watch Netflix, I'm sure you can find more than that, or to scroll Instagram, or to listen to this podcast even, though you're probably driving or something whenever you're listening to this. Why would you sit down and listen to this? Like they used to in the old days, they'd turn the radio frequency to whatever their favourite channel was, and just sit there and listen to the radio, beside the radio. It's not mental. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Basically, all I'm saying is you have 15 minutes in your day, and you can do some work. You can get a workout done. Don't build it up into some big thing, and then just go, it's too much stress, too much effort. It's got to take 2 hours, and don't do it. Start and then see how you get on, and then do something. I'm talking myself into going on training here. Before this, I was actually trying to talk myself out of, I'll not have time today, I'll do it tomorrow. But this podcast episode has made me go, I can't not do it today. I have to train today now because I've told everyone else that they've time, so I've got time as well. Okay, and we've got a News of the Week article this week to digest. And it's one that it's from a few weeks back. I seen it on, I think it was like the 6th of March, and I haven't had a show really since then that's dealt with the news. So it's called No Time to Exercise, What About 3 Seconds a Day? So it's quite in keeping with our topic today. So this is on neurosciencenews.com, and goes like this: lifting weights for as little as 3 seconds a day can have a positive impact on muscle strength. A new study from Edith Cowan University, ECU for short, has discovered. Collaboration with researchers from Nagata University of Health and Welfare in Japan had 39 healthy university students. I'm surprised they found 39 healthy university students that were sober and weren't taking drugs perform one contraction at a muscle contraction at a maximum effort of 3 seconds per day for 5 days a week over 4 weeks. So that's 3 seconds per day for 5 days a week over 4 weeks. The participants performed either an isometric, concentric, or eccentric bicep curl. See definitions below. At maximum effort, while researchers measured the muscle's maximum voluntary contraction strength before and after the 4-week period. After 13 students performed no exercise over the same period and were also measured before and after the 4 weeks. Muscle strength increased more than 10% for the group who performed the eccentric bicep curl after the 4 weeks, but less increase in muscle strength was found for the other 2 exercise groups. The no exercise group saw no increase, surprisingly enough. Lead researcher Professor Ken Nosaka from ECU School of Medical and Health Sciences said the results showed that people didn't need to spend vast amounts of time exercising to improve their muscle strength. Study results suggest that a very small amount of exercise stimulus, even 60 seconds in 4 weeks, can increase muscle strength, he said. Many people think you have to spend a lot of time exercising, but that's not the case. Short, good quality exercise can still be good for your body, and every muscle contraction counts. So, isometric versus concentric versus eccentric, these 3 classifications relate to what the muscle is doing when being activated. Isometric contraction is when the muscle is stationary under load, concentric is when the muscle is shortening, and eccentric is when the muscle is lengthening. For bicep curl, a dumbbell held with an arm by one side before lifting a weight upwards towards the chest and lowering it back down via the elbow. Lifting the weight sees the bicep in concentric contraction, lowering the weight sees it in eccentric contraction while holding the weight parallel to the ground is isometric. So which is best? So the study shows all 3 lifting methods had some benefit to muscle strength, however eccentric contraction easily produced the best results. So that's an interesting one, isn't it? And it kind of, in one sense, it backs up what we're saying. It's saying that you don't have to spend an hour in the gym every single time you go in. Shorter it can work, shorter can be effective, but at the same time, I would like to see those people get anyway strong, like get a relative, like a decent amount of strength, like a double body weight deadlift. I'd like to see you doing that from 3 seconds of exercise. Maybe you could, maybe it just might take a really long time, but that's a study if you're really pushed for time, right? The other side of it is, for a lot of exercise you have to warm up. So for squatting you need to warm up. You need to make sure your body's ready and primed to lift heavy weights, because intensity is going to be important. But it kind of throws out the notion in one sense that you have to do 12 reps or do 20 reps to encourage muscle growth and strength. You can still get stronger from spending less time lifting the weights. So that's why in the gym we would quite often train older people and quite often ladies using 3 reps. So 3 sets, 3 reps, and it has to be heavy, otherwise it doesn't work. It's all about the capacity that your body's able to manage and to cope with, and then try to apply the appropriate stress to get stronger. So I've done over 3 seconds. I think you might take a very long time. It might take a lot of weeks, might take a lot of months and a lot of years to get anywhere strong from doing it, but it just shows you don't always have to spend an hour at a time in the gym or do 12 reps for 2 minutes. Right, joke of the week time. This is a good one. You're going to like this one. What does a drummer call his twin daughters? And a 1 and a 2. Get it? So just to summarize and to bring this to a close, training and eating well should not be someday goals, but more so tools that you can use to optimize your performance in all aspects of life, as well as your overall living quality. Because your health, it really should be your number one priority. It's really important to consider how you can optimize your training process, how you can make that optimized for your lifestyle, whatever that looks like. It's going to look different to mine. That's a fact. So you can make the benefits outweigh the time invested. It's always trying to think about return on investment, okay? It's not just a money term, it's a term for life. It's a term for what's the minimal amount of work and effort I need to put into training where I can get the best possible results. And becomes the trade-off. And the older we get, the more we should be thinking in these terms. So the best practices to do so are to find a local gym. So find somewhere really close to you, 10 or 15 minutes away. Find somewhere that you can get in and out of quickly and there's no waiting around for equipment. Cross-functional fitness, by the way, has an open gym policy at the minute. We've got memberships and there's caps on the numbers in each session, so there's always going to be equipment. Just throw it in there, bit of cheap promotion. Do shorter workouts but more frequently. Don't do an hour, do 15 minutes. Do it more regularly. Also use equipment that you can have at home, so things that are easily stored. Kettlebells, maybe a skipping rope. Maybe you've got room for a rack and a barbell and a bench. You can do other stuff at home. Maybe just use your body weight. Do things at home with your body weight. We all had to get used to doing stuff like that over the last 2 years with the insanity that was going on when we were locked up in our houses. But you can always find time gaps in your life. You can always replace those with more productive activities like training and preparing your meals. We've all got those 10 or 15 minutes of downtime where we just start scrolling Instagram or start flicking through Facebook or just stick on Netflix for half an hour. We can all find those time gaps. Maybe it's 15 minutes before bed. Maybe it's first 15 minutes in the morning where you fart about looking for your socks. For example, most people will spend at least 50 minutes a day on their Instagram feed or an hour a day on YouTube or TV or Netflix. That's most people. That's the average. And I'm not saying that that's you. Maybe is, maybe isn't. But that's like 2 hours you can easily use to get a workout in and prepare your food for the next 3 days. Basically, proper and regular training sessions will quite obviously optimize your fitness and your mood. You'll be more pleasant to be around for everybody then and make you feel better and experience better clarity in your mind. And that's going to apply everywhere you go, whether you're socializing with friends, whether you're dating somebody, whether you're working, whether you're looking for a promotion, whether you are, whatever you're going to do, whatever it is you do with your life, it's going to apply to that. It's going to help you with that. It's not just the physical side of it. There's the massive mental benefits that come from it, training regularly as well. So next week, we're going to look a little bit closer at nutrition and a busy lifestyle and how you can spend less time and money while eating healthier and better. So do check that out. I hope you have an excellent weekend and I will see you back here again on Strength for Tomorrow Radio. Have a great weekend and don't forget to train today so you can be stronger tomorrow.